أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا هديناه السبيل إما شاكرا وإما كفورا. Surely we have shown him the way. He's either thankful or unthankful. What is the way? Imam Hussein alayhi salam is the way. We've been talking about this countless times. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Imam Hussein is the sirat. Sirat al-ladhina an'amta alayhim. Those who you bestowed your bounty, your mercy upon them. So there is a group, and you have to find that group in your heart. That group is here. The Imam Ajallah Ta'ala Faraja. He is here. He's with us. And he is that sirat. And we are trying to find our way every day and to stay on this path. So as we're traveling, and as you're being a traveler in this world, we said yesterday to travel light. Put your provisions on the backs of others. So when that day comes, you're free, you're disconnected, you're detached from this world, your emotions are disconnected. That I'm willing to just leave. And on that level, there's certain things that happen to your heart as you train yourself. Because this day is an amazing day. This day is not a closing to something. It's an opening to your heart. And if you allow your heart just to open properly, and you allow yourself to immerse yourself into the energy that exists in these majalis, something will happen to you. Your heart will start to ascend. The more you submit, the more you ascend. The more courage you have to stand in front of anything that goes on in this life. Your anxiety decreases. Your strength, your ability to say no goes to another level. If you're going through a problem, you remember Imam Hussein's problem. You remember his challenge. And now the women are all alone. SubhanAllah. Think of that as your family. And someone has actually done that to your family. And now the women cannot be protected anymore. So to our men, let's protect our women. Let's take care of them. Don't treat them as objects. Don't look at them in a way that is gratifying to your eye. And when you look at someone, especially when a man looks at a woman, check where your eye goes right when you see her. See where your heart is at. Understand that and check your heart. Right now you may feel something. You may feel good. You say, you know what, I'm going to stay away. But you're going to leave out the gate. You're going to leave. And what's going to happen? You're going to go back into your patterns. And certain things are going to happen in front of you. So tonight, let's travel through what Imam Hussein alayhi salam traveled through. We have the best way of life. Don't let the West fool you. Don't let the narrative fool you. What we have, there's nothing better. There's nothing that can give you these emotions. Some people drink alcohol to shut off their mind because they want to get a little buzz. Some people do drugs to deal with problems. You know what we have? We have Hussein. What a name. And if that sits in one cell in your brain, and that cell is connected to an emotion, that's a fountain of security. It's a fountain of tranquility. It's a fountain of peace. You found it because you have the gate. So let's say you're a person that's living in this world, and now you're doing well. Life is doing you good. Got an executive suite, top of the building. You're running late. You're going towards the elevator. You're getting off work. You hear the elevator ping, and it closes. You're expecting someone. You're expecting to wait because the elevator is a long way down. It's a high building. And all of a sudden, the door just opens. You're surprised. And there's a person in there that heard you, and they actually opened the door for you. They were extremely considerate. And something happens in your heart, because you're running late. And you know when you're running late? And imagine you had to wait for the elevator to go all the way down and come back up. But this person was highly considerate. So now something happens in your heart. We all feel it. Did he say anything to you? Did she say anything? Nothing. But you feel it. So the heart talks. The heart can talk. The heart has a conversation. Someone lets you in, you feel good. The heart has a conversation. You're not even conducting through words at all. So the heart is talking. And that kind of language, no distance, no time. Different language. And now you get on the elevator and you say thank you. But your heart, something has happened to it. You feel so much better. You've had a hard day and you feel so much better. But you look, it's a clear elevator and you can see the city. It's so high. And you get scared. And all of a sudden, you remember. There's a hadith by Imam Ali alayhi salam. And he was asked, if someone was imprisoned in a house and he couldn't get out, how would he gain his sustenance? How would he gain food? Imam Ali alayhi salam, he said, he will gain food. His food will reach him the same way death will reach him. Now you're a little more scared. Something happens. You're looking around and you see a woman in front of you. She's scantily dressed. And you remember Imam Ali alayhi salam. And he says to you, he says, remember death. It's your shield against sin. And you cast your eyes away. You get off the elevator. You're walking and you go and you just sit down. Because something is happening inside your heart. Something is happening to your heart. You sit down and now you begin to reflect. And you look at your shadow because it's a beautiful day. And you remember Imam Ali alayhi salam again. And he says to you, he says, death is closer to you than your own shadow. Reflection. You're walking through a story in your mind, but who's talking to you? Who's talking to you? And who can talk like this? Who can guarantee you these things? Now you get home. Something is happening to your heart. Your heart is beating differently. Your heart is coming alive. There's something that's happening. It's time to pray. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. You remember Imam Hussein was. when he was in the middle of battle. And you say, you know what? There's no way I'm going to let my salah go. Again, the heart is moving. It's beating and it has a different rhythm. And now you go into sujood and a tear comes down. Your body is not in sujood. Your heart is. And you come out. You go back down. And you say to yourself, the second sajda, I'm going to go into my grave. I come out of the earth, the first sajda. When I go back in, and I go in for the second sajda, I'm going back into what? The earth. Then Allah's going to bring me up again. I remember that. I'm done. Tashahhud, taslim. And now I'm reflecting. My heart, calm, collected. I'm not afraid. But my heart is coming alive. You sit down to have food. Your wife, great woman, she makes you your food. She makes sure you're happy. She's taking care of you. Right, my sisters? So now, you smile at her. And all of a sudden, there's a stare in your eyes. And she looks at you. And she says, are you okay? Something doesn't feel right. You know something is happening. You don't feel okay. And you answer, and you're like, yes, I'm okay. But you know you're not okay. And now, a few minutes later, same thing happened. And now you understand something is happening. In the Quran it says, كلا وإذا بلغت التراقي وقيل من راق وظن أنه الفراق والتف الساق بالساق إلى ربك يومئذ المساق. So on that level, you realize that something is happening to you. Imam Ali alayhi salam gives us the stages of what happens to us and what happened today to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So you should reflect on this. Imam Hussein is not just a time we get together. Imam Hussein alayhi salam is a reflection. It's a point in history. So visit him. Go to Karbala. Make it tonight. And say to yourself, Ya Imam, I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come see you. I'll share with you a small little story. And this was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. The person who was telling me, it was so beautiful. He's in the maqam of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Imam Ali alayhi salam. And he's walking and he says, it's so tight. It's so tight. People are pushing, pulling, everybody wants to get to the Imam. He said, I didn't have any effort. I didn't push, I didn't do anything. I was just letting the crowd carry me. I asked him why. He said to me, he says, because there's a moment in time. There's a moment in time that I'm going to get to touch the shrine. I don't want to hurry it, and I don't want to what? Be early. This is my moment. This is my moment. So he says, he gets right there, and he can, if he takes his hand up, he can actually touch the shrine, but he has to reach over people. So he tells me I didn't do it. I could reach, but I didn't do it. I said, why? He said, I didn't want to put effort. This is my moment. Then he sees an old man. He's right next to him. He's about this side. And then he says, the old man is trying to get through, but he was weak. So now what happens? He makes sure that the old man gets through. And now the old man is in front of him. And the old man is doing dua. He's doing his thing. And the old man turns around, he looks at him, and the old man was crying. And he thanks him. And the old man goes on his way. He goes, now I'm standing right there. And I lift my hand up. And I touch the maqam. Do that for yourself. Experience that. Because what he told me next was incredible. Then someone in my ear, he told me, said that the head is on the other side. The head of the imam is on the other side. Go there. So he makes his way around. And now the same moment is there. Do you know who he sees in front of him? He sees the same old man. And the old man turns around, and now the old man lets him in. SubhanAllah. Let things happen to you. Be like the person who has a sail. The person has no effort. The wind is carrying life for you. Let Imam Hussein be your sail. There's no effort in the heart. Everything is soft. So now, Imam Ali alayhi salam, you've read all his stuff and you understand how life works. And now, your heart, you know something is wrong. Your wife looks at you. And in the Quran, you remember, وَجَاءَتْ سَكْرَةُ الْمَوْتِ بِالْحَقِّ. You remember the Quran. Surely, the intoxication of death is now near. You know. Because now, something is happening. So Imam Ali alayhi salam describes the stages. He says you begin to let go from your feet on up. And in the Quran, it says, كَلَّا وَإِذَا بَلَغَتِ التَّرَاقِ. Now when the soul reaches what? The throat. The first thing that goes, your wife is talking to you, and you hear her, you see her, but you can't respond. Imagine how scary that is. You can't talk. You see, you hear, but you can't talk back. Second thing, the second that happens, she's still talking to you. You understand her. She's saying, are you okay? But then your hearing goes. You can still see her. And you see her mouth moving. And you see her reactions happening. And then you close your eyes. Then you remember Imam Ali alayhi salam again. He says to you, he says, you're either going to a good place, not so good place. Person wants to go back. قال ربي لولا أخرتني. You remember the Quran. لولا أخرتني إلى أجل قريب. Wow. I will be amongst the righteous, and I will do the right things. You remember that. But then all of a sudden, you realize, what? You're now moving over. At that moment, you remember the Quran. وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ. And the angels, this is the angels from the other side. They're saying, who is coming? They're asking. They're waiting for you. وَظَنَّ أَنَّهُ الْفِرَاقِ. So on that level now, what happens? The angels begin to see the separation of your soul to your body. So that's why they're asking. And now you understand what's happening. So now you've traveled all the way through. Now, why do you need the gate? Why do you need Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Because in that moment, inshallah, you see the rewards of this night, inshallah. Because these nights, as the brothers recite, as the Quran is read, every letter you stated, you said, you will see its reward. So death is not a scary thing. Death is a beautiful thing. It's just a transition. You died before you came into this world. And you will die before entering the next world. So now, you realize that. And who do you see? Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. You know him as well. And he reminds you. And he says to you, تَتَسَاءَلْ وَتَتَعَارَفْ. What do you mean by that? You see now. You see people. And they will be asking, who's coming? Who's this person? You see the people you know. And now you realize you crossed over. لَقَدْ جِئْتُمُونَا فُرَادًا كَمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. You've come as a singularity, coming by yourself. So now you see everyone. Then it says دعوها قد أتت من حول عظيم. Let it rest. Let that soul rest. It's come from something that is so heavy, which is what? Death. That separation. And all of a sudden, you also you know the Prophet. And you see him now right in front of you. He appears. Then you see Imam Ali alayhi salam. Then you see who? Imam Hassan. And then you see who? This day. You see the man that you shed the tear for. You see him. And now he's right in front of you. But tell me, if you see him, would you want to be here? I'm sorry, I don't want to be with you. If I get to see that, I don't want to be with you. I'm sorry. I love you guys. But I won't want that. So now, if you have faith, you remember the hadith. Also from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, because you know him as well. You understand the way he thinks. And now, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, he says, if you have faith, ظلم من الإيمان, you have it. And your tongue says, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأشهد أن عليا ولي الله. And now, you've said the Jahada because you have faith, you have that strength. But some of us are going to be afraid. we're not going to be able to speak even on the other side. So Imam Sadiq alayhi salam goes further. What happens to this person? The person who can't speak because they're so afraid. You know who bears witness what's in your heart of your shahada? The city. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. He bears witness. So this is why you need the city, but you also need the gate. Because then, on what Rasulullah witnesses in your heart, and he says, he's a mu'min, she's a mu'minah. Take him to where he needs to be. Then you know who bears witness on the witnessing of Rasulullah? The Imams, alayhi salam. This is why you need the gate. It's not a joke. This is eternal. خالدين فيها أبدا. This life, Imam Ali alayhi salam, because now you know him as well, he says, how fast are the hours? How fast are the days? How fast are the years? And how fast is your life? So today, Imam Hussein went through that. But think of Imam Hussein when the angel said, وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ. Imagine the separation of the body of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. When he went across. Think of that. Think of what the angels saw. But think of what you're going to see. So today, reignite your heart with your allegiance to Imam Hussein. Because you don't need him just in this world. You're going to also need him where? In the next. It's not just here. Your Imam is the gateway to your eternity. Not to this meaningless life. The Imam is the gate to what? Eternity. So understand. So tonight, reignite that allegiance to him. And if you have a problem, say, Ya Allah, I'm coming. I'm coming. Because there's something in my heart that just started. I don't know what it is, but Ya Allah, whatever challenges I have in my life, there's no way. There's no way. Because what's in my heart, it's much greater than any challenge you can give me. On that level, when you become like that, this is now Imam Hussein's energy in your heart. That's what you need to have. It's not about coming up here and just hitting your chest. Pound your principles into your chest and say, you know what? They're right next to my heart. And I'm not going to move. I'm not going to move. World, come at me. Come. Be like the companions of Imam Hussein. That you can train your heart. We're all part of those companions. Why? Because again, remember Imam Ali. Imam Ali alayhi salam gives us a message from way back then. To you, and to me. One of his companions, after a battle, what they had won, he asks him, he says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. He says, I wish my brother was here. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam says, ask him why. He says, because I want him to see how Allah has granted you victory. Listen to what the Imam asks. Please. He says, did he have love in his heart for me? He said, yes. And the Imam says, he goes, know that he was with us. Then he goes further. He says people have passed. In the moment he's talking to his companion. And now he refers to who? He refers to us. And then he says to him, he says, and know, there are men and women in the loins of men and in the wombs of women that have not come yet. That will eventually come and they will hold our name. They will raise our flag. Think about that. We are responsible. All of us. Come together. Don't have ailments in your heart. Let's come together under one flag. Doesn't matter what culture. Doesn't matter how you think. Doesn't matter. Accept each other. Let's not reject each other. That when we cross over and you see me and I see you, and I say, SubhanAllah, where have you been? I'm here. I'm waiting for you. Let's meet there. Let's come together here so we can meet there. That when you enter the gate and you leave, you're also waiting for me. That when you see me, you say, Wissam, wow, we made it. Imagine that moment when we can meet on the other side. And I see you. But then I look at you and you look at me and we just smile. And you say, Alhamdulillah, we made it. Now for me, I'm okay with being the janitor on first level. I'm okay with that. Just make it to the other side. Hold on to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So when you cross over, you see him, and he paves the way for you. Not just here, but over there. Sallallahu Muhammad.